What's up, everyone? True Techno Gamer here, back for another video, and we're gonna go right into the part two of sorts, talking about Xbox and their strategy for next gen. And now, of course, I got to give my take and my impressions on the Xbox Game Showcase, which initially aired last week. Um, and yeah, I'll break down my thoughts and why I thought what I thought. And I'm not gonna go game by game and talk about every specific title. I'll just kind of give my highlights and my big takeaways, and kind of what I feel you should take away from it. So, with that in mind, let's get right into it. If you follow gaming at all, you might have already seen the showcase. If not, I'll link it in my video description here. Check it out if you're interested. But generally speaking, the feedback on most corners of the internet, at least, was pretty negative, particularly about the Halo Infinite gameplay reveal, but just about the game showcase in general. However, there was some, media outlets that thought it was pretty well done, and there were some people that said it was like, a 9 out of 10, ish kind of presentation. And I'm gonna call bull on that one, man. I'm sorry. There's no way it was quite a 9 out of 10. And I'll break down why. So my general takeaway, honestly, is that I came away disappointed, like a lot of people. And it's easy to see why, in my opinion. But my general takeaway was that of disappointment. Now, before I get into it, we gotta take a step back and set up some context about what the showcase really was about. Okay, so first of all, in the name, notice it is the Xbox Games Showcase. It was not the Series X hardware showcase. It was not the next gen Xbox showcase, right? Sony's similar showcase that they did in June, if you recall, was actually called the PS5 event, right, or PS5 reveal event by Sony. So clearly we know we were going to get, PS5, brand new, highlighting only PS5 games and only PS5 content. But in this situation, they never specified Series X. They just called it the Xbox Games Showcase, and that's exactly what it was. They showed 22 games that are coming to Xbox. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you might know now that coming to Xbox does not mean coming to a particular device, right? It does not mean coming to a particular piece of hardware. Coming to Xbox means coming to the Xbox platform, which really constitutes almost like 10 pieces of hardware, at this point. Seriously, right? So coming to Xbox means coming to Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, soon to be Xbox Series S or the Lockhart, coming to xCloud, like literally like everything, and PC, of course. Seriously. So Xbox is not about a device anymore, right? So that's what they showed. They showed 22 games that will be coming to the Xbox ecosystem that you can play on whatever piece of hardware you have. Now, in and of itself, that's not a bad thing, right? The problem is that this event was billed as the absolute coming out party for the Series X and the coming out party for the quote unquote next gen Xbox by Microsoft. Okay, now keep in mind that they did a brief kind of third party Xbox Series X showcase back in May. Okay, and that did not go over too well. It was mostly kind of unknown third parties and indie games, but again, that event was billed as the first glimpse of the next generation gameplay from the Series X, right? That's how it was billed. And in fact, we got 25 minutes of games and very little gameplay, right? So that was the first problem. Now, in response to the backlash from that, Microsoft said, "Oh, guys, wait till July. In July, we're going to have our Xbox Game Studios, our first party game showcase, and then you will see. You will see the Series X power. You will see what next generation is all about." Right? That's basically what they said, right? They told us to wait, that this was going to be it, right? Because up until now, we haven't really seen any real game running on Series X. Right now, at that third-party showcase, there were some trailers, in some cases that were in-game trailers, that was said to be running on Series X, or at least said to be running on a PC that is indicative of Series X. But we just haven't seen like an actual game just running on Series X. And we definitely haven't seen anything that looks quote unquote next gen, meaning that it looks on a technical level above and beyond anything that we're accustomed to seeing now, right? For PS4 and Xbox One games, right? So that's how this thing was built. Now, if it hadn't been built like that, the reception might have been a little different. I might have felt a little different about it. But the fact of the matter is, this was supposed to be it. And with that in mind, if you understand that context, it absolutely was a disappointment. Okay. Now, okay, there are three high-level things that I'm just going to point out that no, Microsoft cannot get a pass for. That is really inexcusable at this point, and it really is why this presentation was subpar, to say the least. Three key things. The first thing, they showed 22 games in the course of an hour, right? Not a single game has been confirmed to be running on an actual Xbox Series X. I'm going to repeat that. 22 games. We see all of these trailers, and not a single one was confirmed to be running on an Xbox Series X hardware. Now, this is a system that is supposed to be coming out this holiday. This is July when this showcase is going down. So we are 5 months out from launch. Now, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic and all of that, but you're taking the time to showcase your games via this live stream, right? Or not live stream, but this, virtual, video stream. You could show games running on Series X. Why would you not show anything running on Series X? The system is 5 months out. At this point, people would have been at E3 hopefully getting hands on playing the system. But we have yet to really see a game running on Series X. The only thing that we've seen that is confirmed to be running on Series X was back in January, when we saw a glimpse of the Gears of War 5 Coalition kind of update, right, on Series X. And we saw some backwards compatible games that were highlighting loading and stuff like that with State of Decay 2. So these are all like existing games, old games, Xbox One games getting updated. We have yet to see like a brand new game running on Series X. These are facts, right? Not a single game. I noticed I said not a single game confirmed. There may have been, but Microsoft didn't mention it. But we know for a fact that the games that we did see that was confirmed to be like actual gameplay, for the most part, was confirmed to be running on a PC that had specs close to a Series X. This is the kind of stuff you hear about literally like a year, 2 years before a system launches. Phil Spencer said that he's playing his Series X at home every day, right? And he has been for months now. Okay, so why can't we see that, Phil? Why are you guys not showing us Series X gameplay, right? It doesn't make sense. Even Halo Infinite, I'm going to get into that, of course, but even Halo Infinite, 8-minute gameplay video was after the stream was confirmed to be running on a PC. Are you kidding me? Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is that the vast majority of especially the bigger first-party games that they showed, was super, super early still. When I say super, super early, I mean like at least 2 to 3 years out. We're talking like, in some cases, late 2021, but mostly 2022 and even 2023 time frame. I mean, it's hard to get excited about something when it's really that far out, A. B, again, you're 5 months out from launch, from your next-gen system, right? I mean, show us what we're going to be playing this year. That's new and exciting, right? That's what Halo Infinite was supposed to be, right? But I'll get into that. But no, seriously, they showed a demo of Forza, and it said it on there. It was like early gameplay, and it wasn't gameplay. It was just an early footage, in-engine footage. But the Forza team have been pumping out a new Forza game every other year, this entire generation for Xbox One. Every other year, a full game, right? The last Forza game came out back in 2017. That's Forza 7, right? 2017. So here we are in 2020, 3 years later, right? And the only thing that studio can show is a very early in-engine look at like the vision of next gen Forza. What the hell have they been working on for the past 3 years? They've been pumping out again full games every other year, every 2 years. So 3 years in, and they don't even have a title. They don't have a single stretch of gameplay. They don't have a vertical slice that they can show us. Like, that's a little. I mean, come on, guys. You gotta think about that. That's Forza. Obviously, they showed Fable, and announced that Fable was coming out, and they did so in a like 30-second CGI trailer. Absolutely nothing to do with Xbox Series X gameplay or in-engine or in-game or anything like that. It was just kind of like a CGI trailer that I guess that showed the aesthetic of the game and stuff like that, coming from Playground Games, makers of Forza Horizon. We already knew that was coming. That was like one of the industry's worst kept secrets. Had been rumored for months, so it wasn't really a surprise for people like that were really close to the industry, really follow the industry like that. But it's good to know it's coming. But we didn't learn anything about that game from that 30. It wasn't quite 30 seconds, I don't even think, but whatever. From that, CGI trailer, we didn't know anything about the gameplay, anything that makes it different than the previous Fables, what the actual graphics might look like, or nothing, right? But again, that game is probably 2023. Right? I mean, again, they kind of like look like, hey, we just started. We're still like very early in the development. We're in the pre-production phase, essentially. So that's what they showed there. Even games like Hellblade 2, which we already saw some glimpse of. Some, again, it was kind of like a trailer, right? We saw at the Game Event Awards in December. You would have thought that they might have had an updated trailer to show here, maybe even a piece of gameplay here. No. In fact, they didn't even show a trailer. They didn't even show the old trailer. Right? Only then they put Ninja Theory in the showcase for them to announce that the location that the Hellblade 2 game will take place at is Iceland. Bro, that could have been a freaking blog post. That could have been an article on Xbox.com. Why have them in the showcase? This is. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried, guys. These investments that Microsoft doing is taking time, and it's not going to really manifest, it looks like, until the middle of the next generation. And then point number three of why this showcase was lackluster, of course, once again, is the lack of actual gameplay. Guys, these are games on a system that we are supposed to be buying in 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months. And Microsoft has been renowned for this. Every year at E3, I was at E3 last year. I was at E3 the year before. Every year, they just showed like a stream of like, oh, we got 40, 50 games coming out. And they showed like, 40, 50, and it's all trailers. It's just all like, it may be in-engine trailers. Sometimes just CGI trailers. But it's just all trailers. Show us some freaking gameplay. Especially now when we can't actually play the game. No one can go to E3. No one's going to these trade shows. It's going to be hard to get hands-on with these, even PS5, right? So show us some gameplay. Right now, 22 games. The vast majority of what they showed was not gameplay, especially from the Xbox game studios themselves. The gameplay that was shown for the most part was from third parties. Right, and it was from a lot of the older games that already been out, right? That's getting updates. The new games, I already ran down some of them. No gameplay, so I can't believe people are letting them get a pass for these three things. Like I said, no game, very little gameplay. Games was super early, so nothing like it didn't instill confidence that again, all this investment in these studios were ready to go, and they're pumping out stuff that we're going to be playing within the next year even. Most of the stuff was like way out there, and and nothing was running on the actual Series X. Everything was running on PC. It's like, really, like, what is the point? Um, they don't get a pass for that, man. Now. So then we get to Halo. Now, Halo Infinite, I'm not going to go too much into this. I know this video is already going on. But look, basically, Halo Infinite did not look good. All right, I'm sure you guys have seen the memes. The people are ridiculing the graphics as they should be. Again, this is a game. Let's set this up for a second. Halo Infinite is a game that has been in the works for at least 6 years now. Has rumored to have a budget that is the highest, most expensive game ever. And I say rumor because it hasn't been confirmed by Microsoft, but it's up there, right? I mean, Microsoft put everything they could behind this game. We have not seen anything really of this game except for, again, a trailer that looked pretty good. The trailer looked like, okay, cool, we got a new Halo game, and it looks like it's open world, and it looked pretty good visually. It looked like a step up from what we have seen before. It was something to get excited about. We've seen 2 trailers for Halo Infinite before. And now they hyped this up. They had said for months that we were going to see the first campaign gameplay of Halo Infinite at this show, right? They've been hyping it up for months. So we get in there and they show this. God, this this is your flagship game. Halo is the flagship game for Microsoft. They know that. And a game that has been in development for so long, it looked worse than Halo 5 on the Xbox One. It looked worse than those earlier trailers that we shown before. It looked at best like an early game from this generation, but a lot of people called it right. It kind of looked like a high-res version of a 360 game. The game looked unfinished for sure, but it looked like a game that is probably at least 2 years off. Seriously. To the point where you thought that, somebody accidentally put in the wrong build. That's how the game looked to me, and to a lot of people. And there's no excuse for that. They knew that this was their big show. I don't know what 343 is doing or what's going on there, but it just looked bad to the point where I'm just concerned about it. I'm concerned about the game. I don't. No one wants to see a game like Halo that's as influential and important to the industry as Halo flop. And people have already been saying that Halo as a franchise has been kind of going downhill, right? So no one wants to see that. No one wants to see, the demise of Halo, right? I mean, that's not something I'm wishing for. No one should be wishing for that. So I was just concerned. Look, at every level, that game should not have been shown in that state, given the context and given the situation. Given the build up to this event, given what was at stake, given that this is, their flagship game, given that it's the first, real big AAA first party game coming to their next gen console, next gen platform, right? And given that we haven't seen Halo, in like 5 years, there's no excuse for this. The gameplay that we saw was confirmed, not Series X, PC, and not only that, but the Series X and PC next gen features like ray tracing is not going to be available at launch. Are you serious? Here's the problem with Microsoft. They've said stuff like Halo Infinite is built from the ground up, quote unquote, from the ground up to take advantage of Series X. That's what they have said several times. How do you build something from the ground up to take advantage of the new hardware where it doesn't do anything that the new hardware can actually do? And it's something like ray tracing, which is one of those fundamental things that they want to put into their flagship game. If it's built from the ground up and has been being built from the ground up, how can that not be part of the game at launch? How could that not be there at launch if you built it from the ground up for next year? Like, you see that? It's just Microsoft, man. I don't know. But so anyway, look, that's my impressions. At the end of the day, you got to look at it. It depends on how you look at it. If you look at this as a showcase, as they called it, a showcase of Xbox games, so just games coming to the Xbox platform, then I would say the showcase was okay. It was okay. It probably was a B. Because, it's not subjectively, if some of those games cater to me or don't cater to me, that's going to be there for everyone, right? But, they have a good, diverse set of games coming. That's what they showed for those those 21 games. And that part is cool. All of those games are coming to Game Pass, meaning that you can play them, quote unquote, just with your subscription for free. You don't need to pay any additional cost. So that's what this is really about. That's Microsoft's trump card, um, and that's awesome. That's definitely good. Um, so it's all coming to Game Pass. That's great. So looking at it like that, yeah, these games are coming. As a presentation, though, like I said, it just wasn't that interesting because they had a lot of games that, again, that honestly didn't need to be in this presentation. They could have just literally had a blog post about. They could have announced, the update to Ori and the Will of Wisp in a blog post, just like they did Forza Horizon 4 in a blog post, right, online. They could have mentioned that Hellblade is taking place at Iceland on a blog post. Had nothing, they didn't need to have that in the presentation. That kind of stuff took away from it, honestly, in my opinion. It was just filler. Um, but so in that regard, good, but still not like perfect, not great. But every other way you think about what this presentation was supposed to be, it flopped. If you look at it as a demonstration of the Series X, it is an absolute failure across the board. An F plus. Sorry, F minus. Because they didn't show anything on Series X. We got no confirmed gameplay of Series X. Not a mention of Series X. Um, this showcase did absolutely nothing to convince someone to buy a Series X. All of these games that they showed are coming to at least PC, if not Xbox One and PC, and in some cases PS5 as well. So it's like, why Series X? There was nothing there to talk about that. So in that regard, it failed. If you look at it from, again, looking at it from next gen, next gen visuals, or just kind of like a nice teaser of what next gen can bring, it failed horribly. None of these games, none of the content here looked above and beyond what we're used to seeing in current gen right now. It is what it is, right? Again, I don't think Microsoft cares. I don't think they really were trying to do that. I think they were just trying to showcase these games coming to Game Pass to show you why you want to subscribe to Game Pass. And as long as you're subscribed to Game Pass, they don't care what you're playing on, what you do, when you buy a Series X or not. They don't care, honestly. So yeah, it is what it is. But no, it definitely paled in comparison to Sony's press conference because unlike Microsoft and unlike what a lot of people are giving credit for, Sony, before they showed any game, Sony had a message that said that everything you're about to see was captured directly from a PS5. And people are still looking at a lot of those games like, yeah, that wasn't running, that wasn't real, blah, blah, blah. Everything in that conference was running on a PS5. If you go back and look at the actual like 4K 60 YouTube streams of all of those games, you can clearly see that it was running real time because the video didn't look perfect. A CGI trailer would look perfect in ways, from an image quality standpoint, that those videos didn't if you look closely at the high quality stream. Horizon was completely real time. You can see it if you look at the trailer. GT7 was completely real time. Spider-Man was completely real time. Demon's Souls was completely real time. Games like Stray, Astrobot, Astro's Playroom, all of that stuff was completely real time. Destruction All Stars, completely real time. Everything they showed there was indicative of what those games will look like on a PS5. So I'm calling bull on that. A lot of people are trying to say other stuff. No, that's what Sony approach was. Now you can say what you want about how those games may or may not appeal to you, but everything, at least from a presentation standpoint, they did what they were supposed to do. They showed 27 games in varying diversity, but everything was real and everything was to show what there was to get excited about for next gen for PS5. Microsoft absolutely failed to do that. Completely failed to do that. They didn't show gameplay for one in most cases, and when they did, it was just running on a PC. And then when they did, it was running on a PC for games that already are designed for Xbox One or designed for current gen. So not really doing much for next gen. So I mean, it is what it is, right? So if you're looking forward to those games, enjoy your Game Pass. Like that's what it's about. That's great. Yeah, if you get Series X, I'm sure all of those games will still run best on Series X for sure. They'll run at the high quality. But that's the model. That's what they're doing. So there you have it. Those are my impressions. I'm really disappointed. A lot of people are like really angry with Microsoft, saying that they're not going to support Microsoft. They're never going to believe Microsoft again. Blah blah blah. I'm not going that far, of course, but I'm kind of baffled at as to really what they're doing with Series X and like who are they really trying to sell that to, and why are they trying to sell it? At this point, I don't get it, because they're going out their way almost to not highlight it, to not showcase it. Um, we get it. We understand that they have other consoles and other platforms that they want you to play on. They try to be device agnostic. We get all that, but come on, like they're not. It seems like they're not trying. I ain't gonna lie. It seems like they're not trying. Gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed. Anyway, I'll stop it there. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, please. I appreciate your feedback. Appreciate your time. Until next time. Thanks again.